Good morning, all student, UPSC aspirant, English medium student. Thanks for joining me. I remind you in the last class, chapter 9th, questions with answers. So today is class chapter 10th. Topic, traders, kings and pilgrims. So some about Jagni. Jagni at the market. Jagini looked forward to the fair in the village. She loved to see and touch the pots and pans of shiny steel, bright plastic buckets, clothes printed with brilliant floral designs, and clockwork toys, all of which came from the city. The men who spread out their were came in buses and trucks and went back at the end of the day. Why were they always on the move? She wondered. Her mother explained that they were traders, people who bought things where they were made and sold them elsewhere. So let's go ahead. How to find out about trade and traders? You read about the Northern Black Policy where in chapter 9. So this fine pottery, especially bowls and plates, were found from several archaeological sites throughout the subcontinent. How do you think it reached this palace? Traders may have carried them from the palace where they were made to sell them at other palaces. South India was famous for gold, spices, especially pepper and precious stone. Paper was particularly valued in the Roman Empire, so much so that it was known as black gold. So traders carried many of these goods to Rome in ships across the sea and by land in caravans. There must have been quite a lot of trade, as many Roman gold coins have been found in South India. Traders explored several sea routes. Some of these followed the coast. There were others across the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal, where sailors took advantage of the monsoon winds to cross the sea more quickly. So, if they wanted to reach the western coast of the subcontinent from East Africa or Arabia, they chose to sail with the southwest monsoon, and Saturday ship had to be built for this long journey. And let's go ahead. New kingdoms along the coast. The southern half of the subcontinent is marked by a long coastline and with hills, plateaux, and river valleys. Amongst valleys, that of the Kaveri is the most fertile. Chiefs and kings who controlled the river valleys and the coast become rich and powerful. Sangam poems mention the Mune, Munemdar. This is a Tamil word meaning three chiefs, used for the heads for three ruling families, the Chol, Chair, and Pandya, who became powerful in South India around 23,000 years ago. Each of the three chiefs and two center of power on inland and one on the coast. Of these six cities, two were very important: Fuhar or Kaveri Patnam, the port of the Cholas, and Madurai is the capital of the Pandyas. The chief did not collect regular taxes. Instead, they demand and receive gifts from the people. They also went to military expeditions and collected tribute from neighboring areas. They kept some of the wealth and distributed the rest among their supporters, including members of their family, soldiers, and poets. Many poets whose compositions are found in the Sangam collection composed poems in precious stone, gold, horse, elephants, chariots, and fine clothes. Around 200 years later, a density known as the Satvahans became powerful in western India. The most important ruler of the Satvahans was Gautami Putra. Uh, I again repeated important facts. The most important rulers of the Satvahan was Gautami Putra Sri Shatkarni. We know about him from inscriptions composed by his mother Gautami Balasri. He and other Satvahan rulers were known as lords of the Dachinapat, literally the route leading to the south, which was also used as a name for the entire southern region. He sent his army to the eastern, western, and southern coast. So let's go ahead. The story of the Silk Route. Silk Route, the rich, glossy colors of silk as well as its smooth texture make it a highly valued fabric in most societies. Making silk is a completed process. Raw silk has to be extracted from the cocoons of silkworms, spun into thread and then woven into cloths. Technique of making silk were first invented in China around 7,000 years ago. While the methods remained a closely guarded secret for thousands of years, some people from China who went to distant lands on foot, horseback, and on camel carried silk with them. The path they followed came to be known as the Silk Route. Sometimes Chinese rulers sent gifts of silk to rulers in Iran and West Asia, and from there the knowledge of silk spread further west. About 2000 years ago, wearing silk became the fashion amongst rulers and rich people in Rome. It was very expensive as it had to be bought all the way from China along dangerous road through mountain and desert. People living along the route often demanded payment for allowing traders to pass through, which show the Silk Route and its branches. Some kings tried to control large portions of the route. This was because they could benefit from taxes, tributes, and gifts that were bought by traders traveling along the route. In return, they often protected the traders who passed through their kingdoms from attacks by robbers. The best known of the rulers who controlled the Silk Route were the Kushan, who ruled over Central Asia and Northwest India around 2000 years ago. Their two major centers of power were Peshawar and Mathura. Taxila was also included in their kingdom. During their rule, a branch of the Silk Route extend from Central Asia down to the seaports at the mouth of the river Indus, from where silk was shipped westwards to the Roman Empire. The Kusan were amongst the earliest rulers of the subcontinent to issue gold coins. They were used by traders along the Silk Route. The spread of Buddhism. So let's go ahead. The most famous Kushan ruler was Kanishk, who ruled around 1900 years ago. He organized a Buddhist council where scholars meet and discussed important matters. Ashwaghosh, a poet who composed a biography of the Buddha. The Buddha chariot lived in his court. Ashwaghosh and other Buddhist scholars now began written in Sanskrit, a new form of Buddhism known as uh, Mahayana Buddhism, now developed. This had two distinct feature. Earlier, the Buddha's presence was shown in sculpture by using certain signs. For instance, his attainment of enlightenment was shown by sculpture of the people tree. Now a statue of these were made. Many of these were made in Mathura, while others were made in Takshila. The second change was a belief in Buddhist. These were supposed to be persons who had attained enlightenment. They could live in complete. So look at this picture. A sculpture from the stupa at Sanchi. Look at this tree. At the empty sea below it, a sculpture carved. This do indicate that the Buddha had attained enlightenment while meditating under the tree. So, people tree situated Gaya. So, you all students visited Gaya.